there is a sense too of a director. You know, the whole thing is a drama, a dramatic scene, because I talk about props. Nature prepares properties for a scene. Good. So the whole thing is a drama. And the one controlling this whole drama is, of course, the omniscient presence, right? That's the maker. The maker never loses heart. And he'll make us, and I intentionally repeat the word make, he'll make us take it over from the start. As a director saying, okay, let's take it from the top again. You know the scene, what goes on with rehearsals. You know, you could rehearse for a whole 30 minutes and then you say, okay, from the top, let's take it from the top again. So I am saying this omniscient narrator now, he'll make us take it over from the start. And the start, I go back to the start of the poem, a placid expanse of translucent green. But then I end with, it said, neath a cobalt blue sky, but the ending says, neath a cobalt blue sky, but there's a change, streaked now with gray. So that's some ideas about the poem. But again, don't ask me what the poem is all about.
Well, it's open to interpretation for all of us. So we'll each take, do with it what our own brain will do, So that's, thank you very much for that.
Very good.
Any other comments here?
Yeah. Krishna, Jamir here.
Yes,
actually, what I could clearly hear is the soul of Walcott coming through. And it really mirrors his work in my respectful view. And thank you for that. It was a wonderful rendition.
Jamir, you're not incorrect at all there, because Walcott is one of my main influences. Walcott, the poetry of Derek Walcott. You're correct.
Okay, great. I tried to do a couple inspired by him as well, but really good. Thanks for sharing.
Okay, thank you. You're welcome.
Well, we can move along. Actually, Jamir is next on the list. Kevin, did you have something to say?
No, just wanted to say that there was a lot of imagery in that poem. There's a lot of imagery, and I was going to say the same thing that was said about Derek Walcott. He's someone that I look up to, and he's someone that Krishna definitely has that style. There's a strong influence on Walcott there.
Well, that is good, because, when you're writing poems, and you need models. You can't say putting pen to paper and you need models. So who are your models? So Derek Walcott is one of my models.
Yes.
So was that a sonnet?
Cassie, no, it was, it's 4 stanzas, octet, the 8-line stanzas, 4 octets, if you wish. And there were some degree of rhyme, but not throughout. You had like approximate rhymes and so on. But then in the final stanza, yes, you have line, time, scare, nightmare, hard start, green and gray. Green and gray is like approximate rhyme. Right? That is like the alliteration. Green, gray, right? And at start you have green and scene, right? So it's not exact rhymes, but there's the use of approximate rhymes. There's the use of alliteration.
And is there a certain meter or something like that?
Yes. You notice the use of the 10 syllables. Not necessarily iambic pentameter, again, But like one line, with eyes that scan the shallows for a scale. I like that line, you know. That's the eye of the seagull looking for hunting, looking for fish, with eyes that scan the shallows for a scale. And you have a lot of, well, you have alliteration there. Scan, shallow, and scale.
Okay.
So you have yes, Cassie. So you have technical aspects. Again, you have the influence of Walcott, strong in it. And but I didn't reach the use of the sonnet came to me. My fondness for the sonnet developed later.
Thank you very much, Kito. Very
Is that my old friend Cassie Sengo I'm hearing there?
yes,
He could answer.
Yes, indeed.
Cassie Sengo, that's my old mentor, by the way, for you all to know. That's someone that I went through the grapevine with this guy from the Circle of Poets of Trinidad and Tobago back in 2080. Back in
Okay,
2080.
Well, here
okay,
we
if
are
I
again.
Good to meet you, sir.
Blessings, man. Blessings. Yeah, go
Well,
ahead, man. Go
okay,
ahead, Cool. Mutila.
now we will continue.
okay,
Jamir, are you? We'll. Oh, sorry, Motilal, did you have something to say?
oh yes, I just wanted to say that well, I don't pretend to be an expert on poetry, but I certainly like what I hear, and with the well, as Krishna mentioned, the meter and the rhymes, it did appeal to a old man like me who like poems with rhymes and all that. So thanks. That's all.
Well, thank you very much for your comments, everyone. We will move along now to Jamir Nazir. He's new with our group today, and he has a poem on Republic Day. Jamir, are you all set?
Yeah, thanks so much. I did a small piece specific to the topic of Republic Day. Let me start. Forgive me, I'm a voice. I think I coming down with a little bug there. So let me start. Oh, my land, once bent beneath crowns, you rise now with the morning sun. Your heart no longer borrowed, but beating with its own flame. On August dawn, the chains were cut, but September gave you voice. The Red House opened its doors, and the people entered as thunder and vow. Ellis Clark stood, not servant, but chosen, and the air carried a whisper. A people bowed only to itself. Republic, your name is orchard and flame, every leaf a promise, every fruit a citizen ripened with courage. Not crowns, but courage. Not empire, but the people's own breath. And when medals shine on faithful breast, they are rivers returning home. They are mirrors where the republic gazes and see her children radiant with worth. O land of Cain and Calypso, may the red house gleam forever, a temple where the people's word becomes scriptures for tomorrow.
Very, very beautiful and very fitting for Republic Day. Jamir, any other comment?
Thanks. Yeah, thanks so much.
A very nice piece, very descriptive. Very descriptive. Actually, more descriptive than imagery. Very descriptive. Well put together and it's very suitable for the occasion. I liked it.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
I like that phrase, the metaphor in the beginning where he said, bent beneath crowns.
Yeah,
That says it all.
yeah. I'm happy you pointed that out. Thanks.
Yes, it is a piece that is replete with metaphors.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Bent, heart, the heart, and then you extend the metaphor to flame.
Correct.
Republic, orchard and flame, metaphor of the plant.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting is that an allusion? Oland of that
So
song,
King.
that national song. Moti, help me here.
Land of fairest beauty.
Paris. So was that allusion intentional?
No, I actually don't know the song, so you're causing
Right.
me
Well,
to go back and look up
Muti
that
can
now.
tell you about that song, yes. O Land of Fairest Beauty. So from the time you started with Olan and then you circled back to Ola.
Yeah.
That was good. The circuitous development of the poem. You mentioned Ellis. Ellis was the only one you mentioned. Ellis, not a servant.
Yeah, the first president.
Not a servant.
Yeah.
Not a servant, which is a comment on colonialism.
On colonialism, correct.
But as chosen, that is hence republic, right?
Yeah.
A nation's own. Yeah, very good. Full of metaphors. And well done.
Thanks so much. Coming from you especially, because Motilal and I went to the same secondary school and he was schooling me on your prowess. And he says, you're a way better poet and a way better critic than him. And I found that a little bit difficult to take. But I really appreciate your comments and to everyone so far. Thanks, guys.
Okay, if I may just say something here, Krishna was talking about the song, and it says, O land of fairest beauty, we pledge our lives to duty and vow this day to serve thee. I also want to point out another thing that in Jamir's poem, when he talks about born in August, and I'm trying to remember what he says about in
September.
September.
Yeah, chains were cut by August, but September gave you voice.
That's right, because the Trinidad and Tobago became a republic on August 1st, 1976. But the event is actually celebrated on September 24th. And, it stood out to me when Jamir brought that out. Thanks.
Thanks.
You have any thoughts, Cassie?
No, Heather. I think it's been handled very well up to now. Yeah.
Now, in moving along, we missed Gersha at the beginning. Gersha, would you like to go next? I don't know if she can hear me. And welcome to Diana. Do you have something today for us, Diana?
Nothing to share today. I'm just here to listen.
Okay, that's great. Well, welcome. We haven't seen you for a little while.
Nice to see you, Diana.
Yes, good to see everyone again.
Well, maybe we will welcome Kevin to our group, and he has some poetry, so maybe he'd like to go next.
Yeah, I'll do a piece from a book that published last year called The Mind of a Poet. The Mind of a Poet, which is a which is a collection of poems of different themes, right? Different emotions and social observation. So I have a little bit of everything in that book. Anybody trying to get a copy of that book can get it on Amazon, The Mind of a Poet by Kevin Grant. And I have a piece called Stick to the Theme, the Republic Day. I have a piece called Ibis in Scarlet. Ibis in Scarlet. Like splotches of red paint scattered all over the gloomy mangrove. O ancient mangrove, strong roots exposed in all its nakedness. Above the muddy swamp, crabs scampering to and fro, running from red muddles with their thin long beaks. Tourists in boats, savoring the scarlet spectacle, bright lights flashing from cameras around their necks. In this melancholy atmosphere, disturbing red muddles from their crustacean feast as they nervously fly to nearby branches on short mangrove trees. O ancient mangrove, where red muddles feed, rich in crustacean life, where red muddles breed. How beautiful you are in all your scarlet splendor, like the red in our flag, a flying wonder. Thin legs, thin necks, what a work of art. But to go into extinction would affect my heart in more ways than one, would tear me apart. That's Ibis in Scarlet.
I
Any comments?
enjoyed it, and I was getting some very vivid images there. So I think the wordsmithing is well done, and as I said, I enjoyed the poem. So I figured there are much more of those in your book, which I think it's worthwhile reading based on this particular piece. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you, thank you.
You really bring the whole experience to life. I could almost imagine myself there. And
Actually,
well,
Oh,
why
you
did you
mean
laugh,
imagery?
Coach Cloud?
Imagery, right?
Yeah.
Imagery.
Yes, yes.
I use a lot of imagery in most of my poems. Most of my poems is based on imagery.
Beautiful. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Did
yes,
you want to do
yes.
another one?
Yes, I can do another one along the same line. That one was Ibis and Scarlet. I'll do one called My Hummingbird Friend.
Okay,
Okay?
but I just want to comment before you do this other one because, as Heather says, I almost felt that I was back in the bird sanctuary. You know,
Yeah,
the images, the words really conjured a very vivid image. The
yes,
crabs, the mangrove, the scarlet ibis.
yes.
As I say, I am not too much of an expert in poetry, but I certainly loved what I heard. Thank you again, Kevin.
Thank you, thank you. So I'll stick along the same line using the national birds. So this one is called My Hummingbird Friend. O tiny feathered friend of mine, with wings of lightning speed, where could that energy come from? Decorated in royal clothes, what a brilliant shine, so divine, you little work of art. Oh, tiny feathered friend of mine, how beautiful you are. Watching me, watching you, shining like a star. You watch me walk away from you, my little humming friend. So long until we meet again. I hope we meet again.
Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, you should do a whole thing with birds.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about doing a book on animals.
Because you capture it perfectly. But now, I'm in Canada, Kevin, and we do get the hummingbirds here in the summer. They come from you and they come here briefly, and when it starts to get cold, they go back by you.
Yes, yeah,
So we do get them, and we had quite a few this summer. So,
yeah.
that's more real to me than the scarlet ibis, which I haven't seen in donkey years.
Yeah, there was a controversy that the scarlet ibis was going into extinction. Yeah, I think you heard about that. That was in the newspapers a couple of years
Yeah,
ago, right? So that's why I ended the piece, the ibis in scarlet, when I ended it that
Hope we
but to
meet
go in,
again.
but to go into extinction would affect my heart in more ways than one would tear me apart, right?
right.
Because that was the controversy that our national bird was going into extinction, which is a very sad thing.
Was that because of overhunting or?
It had to do with hunting too, yes, hunting, and then there was a talk about migration as well, because I think they were coming from Venezuela, right?
Mm.
Just a little bit of information here, that right now in the Pinal area in the San Francisco de Oropuch Lagoon, we
Yeah,
have a bit of scarlet ibis there now, scarlet and white ibis. So
Oh,
right.
yeah, so there's a particular company, I can't remember the name, a tour company that they organize tours in the river, the Sudama River, the Godino River, where you can see some of see the birds, but there you have scarlet ibis and you also have the white ibis
White ibis,
in
yes.
in
I think
Pinal.
there's also one family tit called the egret. I think the egret is a family tit as well.
Yeah, that tour company. Recently I became friends on Facebook with a fellow called Taran Maharaj, and
Mhm.
it turns out that he and I were in Naparima College back in 1960, and he's the owner and he runs that tour, Taran Maharaj.
Yes, yes. I met him there. There's a place called the Mud House Museum in Avocat that I met him there. There's a lady called she's a teacher at IRE. I try to remember what block she is, but she's a teacher at IRE, and there's this place, the Mud House Museum, and well, Poetry and Prose had several little. We had meetings and functions at the Mud House Museum, just in passing.
Yeah, I came a couple of times and looked at the birds there. And there are also a number of, I think, migratory waterfowls as well, if I remember correctly. But I was surprised at the first time we were just driving and we saw them through the little mangrove type things there. And then we had come back a couple of times. You're right. And I hope that becomes a preserve as well for them. And it offers a sanctuary.
very nice. Now, Gersha, can you hear me? I don't see her on the screen anymore. Because I missed her. She was supposed to go first, but she had difficulties with her sound.
She sent a message in the chat saying she's having connectivity issues.
Oh, okay. Oh, I just didn't see the chat. Okay. Um, uh, well, Motilal, would you like to go next?
I will go next.
Okay.
Okay, we had all these serious discussions. So maybe I want to do this piece just to lighten up things here.
Okay.
Now this piece is entitled You Feel This Is a Republic? When I was 13, I wanted to leave school. I was attending Modern Sec in San Fernando. My mother, who was a village seamstress, also ran a sewing class at home where the girls who left primary school and did not pass common entrance and whose parents could not afford to send them to private high school came to learn to sew. I wanted to line with the girls and made excuses like my belly hurting. One day, my mother took an old machine strap and gave me 5 across the back, saying, "You want to stay home? Eh? You feel this is a republic?" I grew up associating the word republic with bad and whimsical behavior. A funny thing about Republic Day in Trinidad, which became a republic on August 1st, 1976, yet the event is celebrated as a public holiday on September 24th. Next thing you know, they may want to move Christmas holiday. I mean to say, if they could cancel the Republic Day holiday during the years from 1999 to 2001 to make way for Baptist Liberation Day, they could do anything. Not that I don't like Baptist Liberation Day. I like all holidays. It's days to stay home and get paid. If you work, it's double time. Who ain't gonna like that? And then in 2001, they bring back Republic Day and also keep the Baptist Liberation Day. Although I find a movie like this is a republic, I like this. The more holidays, the better. Like the man that is called Republic. Well, his wife leave he and gone with the drug man who living up the road and who have plenty money and buy a car for she. While she living with the drug man, she still coming back and cooking and cleaning the house and going back in the evening. For 4 years she doing that. And then the drug man get locked up. Police seize the car, the bank take the house, and now he making a jail. Well, just like that, she come back, just like Republic Day, and living with her husband. Good, good, good. People as real do what they want in this Trinidad Republic. Like one day, a president get up and decide Republic Day had too much activity. So he decide that the National Awards ceremony, which was always held on Independence Day, will now be held on Republic Day. Well, just like them presidents in all them banana republic, he only lasts one term. Some people never like the word republic, like me, Archie, who always put in she money in Barclays Bank for years. Now, in 1970s, because of pressure from the Black Power movement and trade unions, Barclays Bank sold most of its shares locally. In 1981, it changed the name to Republic Bank. RG, who never trusted anything local and was, with the name being Republic, went and take out all she money. Republic Bank, she said. In a republic, they just do what they want. My money, safer under my mattress. It have a bar in San Francisco nearby the cemetery that is called Republic Bar. It does have fight nearly every Friday when man get pay. But they had the coolest carib. If I pass in, I go buy one and pay an extra 25 cents for the bottle to take away for a not drinking in there. I afraid. It always have man hustling you for a cigarette, a drink. And the place not so clean. And the waitress smoking cigarette when she bringing cutters and thing. It have a sign outside, no peeing on the wall, but the urinal vamping as if they washed for months. The bar get the name Republic because people just do what they want in there. Talking about bar, here what happened last Republic last year. You know all bars supposed to remain closed because of the COVID. Well, Ron and Steve gone by the plug shop in the morning to buy duck. Long line in Pinal every public holiday except Diwali, and it's long line by the plug shop. Long time they meet up, and long time they take a drink. The minister say you could buy in the grocery and drink home. But all real drinkers know that home drink can't taste like shop drink. So they make the order and pay and say they go come back and collect in an hour. They leave their car and walk inside Budu Trace to the rum shop, which was closed because it was curfew. Steve gave a long whistle. A man peeped out from behind the galvanized gate and seen Steve open the gate. Inside was about 12 men around a few tables with drinks, puncheon and carib and beer. They look at Steve and Ron and put their finger on the lips. Just as Ron and Steve knock the glass and Ron say, boys, a long time. A long whistle again. The barman opened the gate slight. A gun barrel poking and 5 people follow. Police, lock up. They had no mask and more than 5 people in the place. And the barman selling alcohol. Too much a man to fit in the van to go to the police station. So some get ticket and some get charged. By the time Ron and Steve reached back by the plug shop, it closed. Wife quarreling and had to make damadol choker to go with the dal and rice. It good for all you. It good. You feel this a republic? In this hard time, all the pride and nationalism that people used to feel about Independence Day and Republic Day is gone. Man trying to survive without work. URP closed, CPF closed. So they have no time for fetting and Republic. Now is the time to try and feed your family as best you can. So, ladies and gentlemen, happy Republic Day and hope everything go good with all you. Thanks.
Very good, Motilal. You're always good for a laugh. So many images there.
Yeah, man, a brilliant story, man, Mutila. Yeah, interspersed with little stories in between. Yeah, I like it. I remember hearing that was a child in the Republic. Not really something that that parents and grandparents really took to. You think you're living in a republic? Yeah. I used to hear that. Thanks for bringing it out in the story there. It reminded me. Good reminder, you know. And I like how we people in the bar they lock up and take with ticket and all that. Yeah, common occurrence in Port of Spain. You know, big galvanized fence and all that. And you know, you have all the settings correct. And you know, this is what I like about your stories. Well done.
2 things I wanted to say. Just what Cassie said about the idiomatic expression. You feel this is a republic. I didn't grow up with that, hearing that. So I wanted to see what it meant, what Moti's mother meant when she said that, because that would have been long before 76, right? Long before we dreamed about becoming a republic, maybe long before. But the answer was, in a republic, people just do what they want. That is the definition of that. The impression people have of a republic. And you could, if you want to get serious, you could really ask go to the man in the street and you say, so tell me, you point the you point the get on the microphone. So what does Republic Day mean to you? What does Republic Day mean to you? And you could get responses and so on. That's one. The idiomatic expression, right? You feel it's a republic. The other thing is the date. Now, Moti mentioned it and was mentioned earlier also, I think by Moti himself, that August the 1st, 76 was when we became a republic, but the holiday is celebrated, sorry. The holiday is celebrated in September the 24th. I did a little Googling behind the scene just now, although I had an idea that it had to do with when they met, right, in Parliament. And Google certified that was the first Parliament meeting under the new Republican Constitution. We had the Independent Constitution of 62, and then we had that was revised, but not greatly, of course. You could debate that. In 1976, we had the Republican Constitution. So the 24th of September was when Parliament met. But the couture now that went with that was, coincidentally, the birthday of Dr. Eric Williams was the following day, September the 25th. And that caused some couture, right? But yes, so it's the first Parliament meeting under the new Republican Constitution, September the 24th. And that would explain why it is celebrated on that day.
Okay.
Very good. Jamiro would like to say something.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I thoroughly enjoyed that. It was very, very entertaining, and it was a brilliant use of humor. But what I found also very impressive, you absolutely captured the culture of Trinidad and Tobago with all of the other stories and those things that woven together. It's almost like educating someone on the culture that we have developed. So thanks for that. So two things, the entertainment and the history lesson with the cultural lesson.
Very good. Thank you. And actually, my piece is going to go next, and it's going to follow right along. And it's a kind of a longish short story, but it picks up what Motila was talking about in a way. Although the last meeting we had that had to do with Independence Day about 3 weeks ago, Arlene was talking about the school system that during colonial days, where we were taught more to obey than to actually think for ourselves. And then Gersha had me read a poem by Olive Senior about the colonial girls' school. And the refrain in that, in between each stanza, there was a 2-line refrain. We didn't learn anything. There was nothing about us at all that we learned. So we didn't learn about our own culture. We were just learning about Britain. And in that 3 weeks, I kind of wrote about 5 little stories, and I had 2 other pieces, and I slung them together. And I'm going to create a book called The Caribbean Colonial Girls School. This story is one of the stories, and it's called Beryl and Her Teachers. So it's kind of comic, and I'll be interested to see what you think about it. So bear with me. Any other comments for Motilaos, and then I'll proceed. Okay, I'll go on. Beryl was a problem child in her class for her white colonial teachers, most of whom had come to the small island of Trinidad from England in the 1950s to teach local girls the rudimentaries of a sound secondary school education. While most of the girls sat quietly and absorbed the lessons being taught, Beryl was constantly interrupting with questions that quite simply stymied her teachers, as they barely knew how to answer her. Miss, she would burst out in class, shooting her arm up straight for attention. We ain't know any daffodil in Trinidad. What's so important about them? She innocently asked in regards to William Wordsworth's poem, I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud, which Miss Lewis Collingwood read to the class during elocution lessons. Miss Collingwood did not encourage interruptions of this kind. For her, it was more important for her students to obey the rules to be seen and not heard. Do be quiet, Beryl, she admonished. It's not your job to think. Just do as I say. And I say you are to do a write-up on what this poem means to you. What message do you think it conveys? I only saying, miss, we have that flower here. What it look like? Asked Beryl. It is yellow, Miss Collingwood replied. But we have yellow flowers here too, said Beryl. Class tittered, quite entertained by the goings-on. They were probably all thinking what Beryl put into voice. Miss Lewis Collingwood was getting frustrated. It is the message the poem is conveying, she said. The flowers are waving in the breeze like waves in the sea, creating a vision that makes the poet happy even when he thinks about the scene later on at home. Oh ho, Beryl said. It's like when the cane and arrow and the wind blowing through it, making it ripple like the water by me arrow. The class laughed again. When Beryl turned in her write-up the next day, she correctly referenced the cane arrow example, which Miss Lewis Collingwood crossed out in red with the comment, not applicable. A thinking child who wanted to see the world from her own experience as well as what was being taught in class, Beryl had problems with a curriculum geared entirely to northern climes, concepts, literary endeavors, and historical events. In history class, while studying the reasons that precipitated both the French and Russian revolutions, she picked out the teacher's comment that when the needs of the people go unheeded, that can bring about revolt. Oh, you mean like the water riots that happened right here, Miss Beryl burst out loud. When the people burned down the Red House just down the road. Granny tell her about that. Beryl, Miss Dixon Taylor practically yelled at her. This is not what we're studying. Please concentrate. Beryl was always getting shot down like this. But miss, it's the same idea. People thought the government was unfair in making everybody get a water meter and pay extra fees because they blamed the people for wasting money. But the real reason was there was not enough money for everybody, not enough water for everybody in the first place. And the Cambule riots that the people had when the British government tried and stop Wee Carnival. Put your hand down and do not make any other comments, Beryl, said Mrs. Dixon Taylor, especially when Beryl referenced the British government. Why, the child was bordering on sedition. When Beryl brought these points up in her homework to illustrate her understanding that the reasons that trigger revolution in any given society, Mrs. Dixon Taylor put a red line through it and wrote irrelevant. Beryl get vexed. How they only teaching about what happened here in Trinidad? Beryl asked her friends. We learning about everybody else but who we is. Gil, it ain't for us to know. Just give them what they want and make your marks and pass now, said one of her classmates. But it ain't fair, said Beryl. It's like we not a real country. Then it came time for English literature, taught by Miss Pierce Keynes, who prided herself from coming from Stratford-on-Avon, the home of the bard Shakespeare himself. Man, she's so full up of herself. Next thing she go say she was family with he and all, said Beryl, who was beginning to become bitter that her natural logic and curiosity was being buried by these foreign teachers. It's not like they're even trying to learn anything about a weak country either, she complained. The class was doing The Tempest, exploring the relationship between Prospero and Ariel, the sprite. Beryl's arm shot straight up again. Miss, we have spirit in the jungle here too, like Dwayne and Sukuya. They just live in the jungle and thief children and people away. And we have Papa Wa and Madame Lo, and they are the good spirits. She did not finish. Beryl, I am not interested. Put your arm down and listen to what I'm teaching. One more interruption and you will be asked to leave the room. Beryl was almost in tears. No teacher seemed to realize that her attempt to compare similarities between Trinidad culture and what was being taught could not only help her comprehend lessons more clearly, but helped make useful comparisons for the entire class as well. When Beryl did an essay on the Tempest, focusing on Ariel, she referenced Trinidad's own folklore on woodland sprites in the paragraph, but it was redlined unrelatable. Beryl saw the entire retinue of teachers from England bringing their vision and ethnocentric views to their students in Trinidad with no attempt on their part to learn anything about the flora, fauna, geography, history, and unique mix of culture that comprised the country in which they were currently living. The introduction of local teachers was slow to start in the school. For her own way of reacting to lessons, the English teachers saw Beryl as a behavioral problem, constantly distracting the class. Threats of order marks and detentions did not seem to curb Beryl's enthusiasm. Something had to be done about this wayward child. The very next term, a new teacher joined the school. She was Miss Douglas, a past pupil of the school who had earned a degree overseas, as Trinidad in those days did not as yet have their own university. She was to teach geography. Thank God it's a teacher from weak country, said Beryl. And she went to school here too. I getting tired of them foreign teacher and them with their name an arm long. By the time you say good morning, Miss So-and-so, class almost over. The class will laugh. Beryl was always good for a joke. Miss Douglas was a pleasure in contrast to the unyielding British educated teachers. She seemed more relaxed and less put off by comments or inquiries from students. Teaching about the Atlantic provinces of Canada, she focused on the natural resources of the region and their exports, especially to Trinidad. The Atlantic region of Canada sends us grain, timber, and fish, said Miss Douglas. Miss, yes, we does eat Brunswick sardine with a little pepper sauce and toast. Mommy does open a tin for we, said Beryl. Yes, exactly, said Miss Douglas. Now you know where it comes from. And what about saltfish we does have with fry bake every Saturday breakfast, asked Beryl. You are correct, Beryl. That comes from Newfoundland. Miss Douglas acknowledged Beryl. Thanks for that information. These foods are household staples we get from Canada. Miss Douglas was so different from the English women. She did not get annoyed at Beryl's input, but took it in stride. In turn, Trinidad exports petroleum, asphalt, cocoa, sugar, and fruit to Canada, Miss Douglas said, making Beryl and the other students feel their island home had some value on the world stage. When Beryl wrote a report for Miss Douglas, she featured Trinidad menu choices in sardines and saltfish, and Canada's roads paved with Trinidad asphalt and their tea sweetened with Trinidad sugar. Miss Douglas wrote in red, "Bravo." Then one day, Miss Douglas saw Beryl crying. What's the matter, Beryl? She asked. Miss Grantley Jones, who does teach we music, was making we sing Schubert's song, Who is Sylvia? And I just say, Sparrow have a song too about women named Jean and Dinah. And she tell me to shut up and she give me 3 order marks for talking out of turn, Beryl sobbed. She says Sylvia was a king daughter and Jean and Dinah is red women. Red women? Miss Douglas asked, confused. She says scarlet, and that is red, Beryl asked. Miss Douglas laughed. She could not imagine an old white teacher from England able to decipher Sparrow's lyrics with a double entendre. Then she got serious. Beryl, you are a very intelligent girl, and your speaking up in class just goes to show you are bright and thoughtful. But foreign teachers like to feel that we are all stupid locals they have to talk down to and teach things to, and that we must obey them. They don't like it when we show signs of brilliance and independence. Our curriculum is set in England, as are our 11 plus O and A levels. So we must learn what they are teaching in order to get our marks and graduate with a diploma to be able to go on to university. Of course, Trinidad has a rich culture, but they're not interested in that. I suggest you make notes of all your insights. Who knows, someday you might be the writer whose work future students will read in class. It never hurts to arm yourself with knowledge. Learn the classics as a foundation of a sound education, but hold your head up high and beat them at their own game. If anyone can do it, it will be you. But I asked Miss Lewis Collingwood once what kind of job I could ever get if I go England someday. And she said I could maybe get a job as a servant, Beryl said. Nonsense, you must aim higher always. These old English women are out of touch with the march of time. They come here to teach us because they cannot make it in their own country. You will be a star someday. Just keep thinking that. The English teachers saw a marked improvement in Beryl's behavior, of course, crediting themselves with it. Thanks to our intervention in the case of Beryl, we have had success in seeing a marked reduction in her class interruptions, said Miss Lewis Collingwood, adding, obviously, our threats of detention and even possible suspension have worked. Miss Douglas bristled. She said, threats are not a good strategy for dealing with a child. Fear should not be one of our directives. Beryl is bright and enthusiastic in her observances. We would do well to encourage all children to feel comfortably enough in the classroom to encourage discourse as one of the learning tools at our disposal. The white teachers raised their eyebrows in surprise and disapproval. This former student had the gall to speak to them in this manner. Yet they could do nothing about it because now she was on equal footing as they were. Things came to a head sometime later when Miss Grantley Jones, the music teacher, was introducing the singing session to the famous British anthem, Rule Britannia. When it came time to sing the chorus, Rule Britannia, Britannia rules the waves. Britons never, never, never will be slaves. Beryl stiffened and whispered something under her breath. What is that, Beryl? Miss Grantley Jones asked loudly. It was loud enough to alert the attention of Miss Douglas, who was marking papers in the next room. She pricked up her ears. Well, Miss, Beryl said, I think it's a bad thing to sing this song in this country where we had slave labor. It's like the songwriter is proud of the suffering of slaves and saying that only the English are to be free from slavery. That means they know it was bad, and it was them who created slavery in this part of the world in the first place. The class murmured in agreement. Some saying it's true. Beryl, trust Beryl to come up with that, but she's right. Miss Grantley Jones hemmed and hawed and stuttered. Beryl, you're speaking out of turn again. Just then Miss Douglas came to the door. Excuse me, but if I heard directly, you did ask her what she was whispering about. Miss Grantley Jones backed down. Then Miss Douglas added, I think Beryl is right. In a colony like ours, this song is in poor taste. It adds insult to injury. It would be good to choose one that is less offensive. The class cheered. Miss Grantley Jones had to abandon the song. The era of colonialism was drawing to a close in Trinidad. In just a few years, Trinidad would gain independence from Britain, eventually becoming a republic. One by one, the English teachers retired and returned to England, some to lonely bedsits, nursing homes, or shabby rooming houses. Their places filled by local, well-qualified teachers, many of them having attended university outside of Trinidad, bringing a global quality to their approach to teaching. The tone of the school changed while still pursuing excellence in education. Beryl went on to become head girl in her final years. She became part of the school law long after she'd moved on to higher education. She was a heroine in the eyes of the schoolgirls, the story of her going against the grain seen through new eyes. From then on, where Beryl was concerned, the mantra around the school was always, be like Beryl, she well big up herself, eh? She stand up for all of we. The end.
And a real gripping story, Edda. If you understand that from beginning to end, well, I don't know. God have so much richness in it. You know what I mean? I don't want to say more. It's just a very, very good story. Well written.
Thank you, thank
Well
you.
researched.
I've just been putting my nose to the grindstone in the last 3 weeks because this only came about 3 weeks ago. That Arlene and this poem that I read gave me the idea for this. But then I thought having gone to Bishops and we had a lot of um staff from England in those days. Then later on we had more local teachers like Cynthia.
That story was well constructed and the message quite poignant. I really enjoy that as all your stories as usual. Just something, just as an aside, when you were mentioning exports from Trinidad to Newfoundland, I wonder if you could mention screech. Because the Newfoundland used to send salted codfish to the West Indies.
Yeah.
which we all lapped up, as you know. And then in return, they would send kegs of rum, coarse raw rum, in a keg called a puncheon.
Yeah.
Puncheon. That's where the word puncheon rum comes from.
Okay.
A coarse rum. And these
Want to
puncheon,
spell that for me again?
Puncheon.
Okay.
So it's a specific volume in these oak barrels. There are other barrels. They had other names, but this particular size of barrel was called a puncheon. So these puncheons would land in Newfoundland, where they would take the rum and blend it and age it and refine it and so on. Now the men on the docks, the people who worked on the docks, unloading, offloading the puncheons, they would get the empty puncheons and pour water into them, and alcohol from the oak would leach out into the water, and they would end up with about a 10% alcohol liquid. That liquid is called, in Newfoundland, they call it screech.
Okay.
So today, you can buy a bottle of screech there, but it's regular rum. But the original screech, this is how they got it, by leaching the alcohol from the oak wood in the puncheons. So it's an interesting story, and that's when you go to Newfoundland, you feel you're in Trinidad. The architecture and the behavior of the people, and they're very jovial and so on. You think you're in the West Indies, and I think
They are. I call them the West Indians of the North because you're right. There was a lot of trade in the last 100 years or so between the two countries. Yeah.
So that's where the word puncheon rum.
Very good.
Yeah. Well, I'm still in the draft stages of my book, and so I just gave you guys a little sample. So if you don't mind, Frank, I might add that in.
Yeah, no, but it's a really well constructed story. The message is clear, even though it's written with a bit of humor. The message is quite clear.
Well, I always like a little bit of humor, so yeah.
Lighten up things.
Well, as the other commentators have said, very, very well constructed story. I got the distinct impression that Beryl was a real person, and I was hoping by chance it was you who took up the mantle now and was doing the book. But thoroughly enjoyed it. And I also enjoyed the contrast between Miss Collins and the other teacher, which shows, in my respectful view, a kind of the tension, and represented the tension that we had during the period, the colonialization of Trinidad and Tobago, between them as the overlords, in a sense, and the local people. So brilliant, very, very well done.
Thank you. Now, I left Bishop Anstey High School in 1968, and that was the year that Cynthia became a teacher there. But actually, I attended that school. It first started out with a kindergarten. They had a kindergarten and junior school component to it when I went there in 1958. And all our teachers were English. Our school principal was Erdley Wilmot in the junior school. And we had people, all the British teachers' names were hyphenated, Storrs Fox, and she became Mrs. Henderson later. But so I kind of played up to that because all the English teachers here have long hyphenated names. But it was a whole different school than the one that Cynthia came to teach at. But this is how it started. We would just to sit there and listen. We couldn't participate. And any child that was over enthusiastic like that, even though she meant well, would be shot down. You know, you sit there and listen, and then you get an order mark or detention. Cynthia, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you that I went in 68 and was there for one term. Miss Sherland was already there, so we were already becoming more local. It's after that I went to university, and then I was fortunate to get a spot to return to Bishops in January of 1972, and I didn't retire until 1998. So I saw the changes. I'm still in touch with Miss Claire Stores Fox Henderson. She's back in England and so on and so on. But yes, your story faithfully delineates just what happened, you know, in schools like, well, Bishops. And then, of course, June would know I was at Queen's College in Barbados, and it was that. I had a French teacher from England. I was in touch with her until shortly before she died. And we had Miss Nurse. I remember her shoes, very staid English woman. But gradually, then the locals took over. So it was a similar development, I suppose, throughout the West Indies, you know. But I know about Trinidad and Barbados. Yes, so
Now,
that's lovely.
I was thinking
Stephanie Sherland was she had gone to Naparima Girls, and she was a student of my mother, and then she briefly taught there, and so she was a colleague of my mother, and then she went to do HC at Naparima Boys, and Daddy taught her. But you know, she and she had a falling out when when Daddy became principal at QRC and she was principal at Bishops. She asked to borrow the grounds for a sports event, and it rained, and the grass got torn up. And he just happened, you know, there was a reporter there to talk about the game, and he just happened to mention, "Oh, the Bishops girls have desecrated my grounds." Well, that was the headline in the Guardian. So Miss Sherland was vexed with him ever since. They never made up. So, but anyway, yeah, the school changed, you know, but I mean, yeah, in the junior school, it was like I described, but it changed after that. It, you know, of course, with local teachers that were that had gone to school there, a lot of them had been former students, so then they slowly changed the way things were taught.
June, you wanted to say something?
Yes, I was saying that I think Miss Nurse was actually a Bajan, but she copied the English style.
Very much so, yes.
Yes,
She
and
taught me Latin.
Yes. And I remember a local teacher, very highly respected and so on, whose mother was very ill, and she'd gone to see her off at the airport or something. And Miss Nurse was having a rehearsal for play or something, because she was in drama as well.
Yes.
And when this other teacher came in late, obviously upset, Miss Nurse chastised her in front of the children. You know, I've never forgotten that. That was so
terrible.
Yeah. But what you were saying earlier, Cynthia, I was thinking that wherever English was spoken, we don't know what happened in the French islands, but wherever English was spoken, you had this same sort of behavior by the expatriates, the same, you know, keeping down of the children and so on. I remember Mrs. Bino, every Friday afternoon, she would bring back our written essays that we would have handed in on the Monday. And if your essay was not well written, she would just throw the book at you. You know, that happened in the 50s. She would just throw the book at you. And you know, there wasn't any sympathy as in some of them. I did meet one or two good ones, but generally they were hoity-toity British types. Thank you.
I think Miss Stores Fox, Cynthia, was different because she was only 20 when she came in 1962. so she was, you know, she kind of grew up with Trinidad. So,
Yeah.
and of course she married a Trinidadian. So
Yes, yes.
I just don't know, after so many years in Trinidad, how would she adjust to going back home?
Mm.
Well, her children, you know, are over there. So,
Mm.
well, one is there. I think one is as far as Australia and so on. And I have been told that when you have children, your life is different. So that was, you know, she was more Trinidadian after she left, because it was a long set of years, as you know, that she
Yeah.
spent there. Yes. Mhm.
I had her for about 4 years before I left. Yeah. So
Yes, lovely.
I just want to say something. You know, I had a different experience in that I was at Modsec and I was having difficulties. In those days, when you're doing maths, you do arithmetic, algebra, and geometry.
Yeah.
And I was having some difficulties with geometry. And there was this Canadian exchange program which the Canadian teachers came to our school. There was a guy named Mr. Shentag. And Mr. Shentag used to come to school with a black pants and a white shirt. But he used to come with a box of different colored chalks. And he started similar angles in one color, sides, everything in color. And suddenly it was like, I don't know, a miracle. I understood this geometry so well because of the way he taught it.
Yeah.
So I just want to contrast that experience. He also, his wife was Miss Chantag, and Mrs. Chantag, and she taught us English, and she was very good. I think that they adapted very well to Trinidad culture. I just wanted to put that in, that I had a good experience. I think Frank wanted to say something.
Frank, you have to unmute. Maybe that's what he's trying to do. Well, we've gotten to the end of our list of readers and we still have time. So is there anybody else that would like to read something?
Heather?
Yeah. Yeah.
Vishnu is here. Vishnu
Oh,
joined us.
Vishnu's here. Oh, okay. He must have come when I was reading. Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's right. There you are, Vishnu. Yes, you were supposed to go right after Gersha, so we're all ready for you. You have to unmute there. You're muted, Vishnu. Can you unmute? There.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to read a poem by Martin Carter, taken from his book Poems of Succession. And I'm going to read letter 1. Actually, he has a number of letters in this book. As far as I can see, letter 1, letter 2, and letter 3. But the one I chose is letter 1. This is what they do with me. Put me in prison, hide me away, cut off the world, cut out the sun, darken the land, blacken the flower, stifle my breath and hope that I die. But I laugh at them. I laugh because I know they cannot kill me, nor kill my thoughts, nor murder what I write. I'm a man living among my people. Proud as a tree, the axeman cannot tumble. So if my people live, I must live. And they will live. I tell you, they will live. But these, I laugh at them. I do not know what thoughts pass through their minds. Perhaps they do not know to think at all. Tigers don't think, nor toads, nor rooting swine, but only man. Just listen and you know. In Kenya, today, they drink the blood of black women. In Malaya, the hero is hunted and shot like a dog. Here, they watch us and lick their tongues like beasts who crouch to prey upon some little child. But I tell you, like a tide from the heart of things, inexorably and inevitably, a day will come. If I do not live to see that day, my son will see that day. If he does not see that day, his son will see that day. And it will come circling the world like fire. It will come to this land and every land. And when it comes, I'll come alive again and laugh again and walk out of this prison. Thank you for listening. Letter 1, Martin Carter.
Very good. Vishnu, do you want to read letter 2 perhaps, because we've got time?
Okay, yeah, I'll do it. I'll try.
Okay.
I just want, let me just intervene here, Heather.
Okay, that's fine.
I posted some poems to read today. I don't know where they have gone to, but I did post them to Mutilal. Grisha didn't seem to have seen them because she didn't include me in the schedule. But I am here and I do have the poems.
Okay.
And depending on the time, I could always read them. Read, you know, just saying, I'm just saying, it doesn't have to be, but I did post them since the 17th of this month.
Okay. Well, Vishnu, did you want, is the other letter long?
About the same size.
Okay, well, you can do that, and then we'll have Cassie.
I can read afterward. It doesn't make a difference.
Okay,
We have time.
No problem.
We have time. Yeah, we have time. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, Heather, I would suggest let Vishnu go ahead, and then Cassie could come in. It's not taking too long.
No, that's fine. Yeah. Go ahead, Vishnu.
Okay. So this is letter 2. After 20 days and 20 nights in prison, you wake up and you search for birds and sunlight. You wait for rain and thunder, and you think of home with pain inside your heart, and your laugh has scorn more bitter than a curse. You think of green mornings, naked children playing in the rain, and even fishes swimming in a pool. A shop in the street and women passing by, walking from home to market in the morning. A blind old man now tapping with a stick, seeing no one, no light, no golden flower, but wandering through the night wrapped on his face. Oh, my darling, oh, my dear wife, whose voice I cannot hear, tell me, the young one, is he creeping now? And is he well and mischievous as ever? Or is a cloud so heavy on the land too deep for him to see the wonderful sky? I send a kiss to tell you everything about today, the 20th in the distance. And you, comrade, you know, I cannot come to the city in myself. Where a garden should be green and delighted, they have planted sharp wires of barbed wire. And every footstep is a soldier's bootstep, marching me down the corridors of silence. Oh, comrade, if I should try to come now to the struggle, perhaps the iron garden will bloom. The scarlet flower bleeding on the vine will be my corpse, and you'll never see me. Thank you. That's letter 2.
Very, very poignant. Thank you. Any other further comments? Well, Cassie, you can go ahead with your work. Thank you, Vishnu.
Thank you very much, Heather. Okay, so the two poems I posted. One is called Shoots.
I got a note from Gosha saying that she checked them, but she didn't see any of your what you said. Just by way of info. You go ahead.
Yeah, okay, all right. The first one I'll call Shoots. And right. You can imagine carpenters shooting after nailing a quiet game of pool. Guns are trained on rooftops. Rainy seasons without leaks are most welcome. Buckets here, pails there, pots, pans everywhere. Plants just love the rains. That is the end of Shoots. And the other one is called Laptop. Guns do not protect. I look to the ground. Children aren't learning how to fall and rise. These can be observed when you look around. During the break, it's hard to catch my friend's eyes. That is the second one. So I think I'll leave it there. If you want another one, you could get it, but I'll leave it there for now. I don't think they would elicit much comments. Real brevity.
Cassie had a help. You had to help us here. I see guns in. I was looking. I got guns in Shoots, and it's guns repeated in laptop, but I don't know how to interpret laptop there. I could see Shoots, but laptop. Help us.
So all right, before we go to the laptop, what do you discern in Shoots?
Well, different types of shoots. You talk about shooting pool, correct? Shooting pool.
Yeah, well, there's that, yeah.
Then there's the gun firing. That's another shoot, and then the plants shooting shooting up from the ground. Plants love the rains to shoot. So you're varying the idea of shooting there. Seen it in different spheres of life.
Right. Well, the situation there is well, I know you're a man, you don't like prompts, but this is in response to a prompt.
Yes, you're correct. Very correct. I don't like prompts.
Yeah, but this is a response to a prompt on old poetry. And you can imagine carpenters shooting after nailing a quiet game of pool. Well, you know that there's a gun that is used to nail roofs and so on, right? It should be nailed into the roof and so on.
Yes.
Nail gun.
All right. So you have both.
What do you call it, Frank?
A nail gun.
Oh.
Right. So you have both going on there. You have the nailing of the galvanized or whatever sheeting, not galvanized really, but the nailing of the roof then. You know, using that kind of gun, and the very carpenters, you know, enjoying a game of pool either prior or after the work has been done. Guns are trained on rooftops. Rainy seasons without leaks are most welcome. Now, there's a bit of a divergence here when it comes to talking about leaks, because on the international scene, there are, well, local scene too, there are so many leaks.
This man accidentally.
There are leaks taking place here and there. You know, people leaking news and so on. And what I'm saying here, when if you are able to plug them, that is most welcome. But then people continue to leak information. Then the rainy seasons without leaks are most welcome. Buckets here, pails there, pots, pans everywhere. That apparently would refer to catching the leaks when if you didn't nail the thing properly, or if after years you develop leaks in the roof, you know, you have to put these things to collect the water when the rain falls. But then the last line says, plants just love the rains. So I'm also saying there too, that these items, these containers, have plants in them that we use to grow flowers, to grow shoots, or sprouts, which would be a synonym for shoots. You know, one commentator mentioned about this poem having relevance to you know, what's going on in the world today. You know, again concerning the leaks and also the shootings that take place. So remember, the problem that I am answering is an international one where there is a lot of well, you know, a lot of Americans and other foreigners are on the site. So we have all these school shootings and home invasions, and you know the works out there in foreign. So she saw it as having a reference to that, that kind of thing. And with regard to laptop, what I'm saying about laptop here now is that it is so captivating then, you know, in other words, we are so down into our laptops and our cell phones that it is, you know, you're hardly seeing, you could hardly catch your friend's eyes. Everybody's eyes is down. And the very first sign it is my eyes that are down, because what I'm saying is that something that people don't seem to be seeing, which is that guns do not protect. Children aren't learning how to fall and rise because they're not going out there and playing and learning, you know, how to falling and getting themselves into you know, physical scrapes and go. They're not really guarded from that, but because of how they're spending their time just looking down on cell phones and stuff, they don't have they're not getting the opportunity then to really experience growing up, you know, with all these scratches and falls and, you know, fights and all these sorts of things. And well, of course, this can be observed when you look around. But who's looking around? Everybody is still down in the cell phone. Nobody's really looking to see. And you hear a lot about how children spend their time in these days. You know, just looking into the cell phone, the laptop, and so on, and killing themselves and
Yeah.
growing up in a weird way. So these are the references that I condense in those short lines and in those short, the brief poems.
Okay.
Really condensed.
Heather,
Yes.
you want to ask June if she has anything?
Yes, June.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Great.
On the last occasion when I read two variations on the theme of independence. And I
Okay.
have two more today.
Good.
The first one is in memory of Alfred Pragdil, and it's from the book The Journey to Le Repentir by Mark Watt. And I think he sounds like a Guyanese to me. So in memory of Alfred Pragdil, when the telephone waked her at 3 o'clock in the morning to say Cossie in hospital because somebody stabbed he outside a rum shop in St. George, she couldn't say she was surprised, though she dressed same time, called taxi, and find herself down QEH as if she was a dutiful, loving wife. QEH is the hospital. Right? He never regained consciousness, and by the time the frail kite string of his life slipped through his hand, 4 days later on that hospital bed, it was as if he died long, long ago. All she could remember was the pain that man bring her, the blows when he came home drunk, the shame when he turned up drunk at the bakery, waving a broken bottle and demanding to see that bitch at his live with, who ain't cooked no food for the man for 2 whole days. Then there was the fat girl from Redmond Village and the fat girl from Charlotte Bridge and all the other fat girls he used to make sure she knew about, just because she was slim and tried to have a little dignity. Up to now, she ain't cried no tears. The day after the funeral, she packed up all his things in one medium-sized cardboard box. His whole life fit in one cardboard box and take it to his sister. Then she go home, cross road and beach, and walk into the sea in all her clothes. She splash water on her head. She throw water up in the air. She duck into a wave. The seawater feel cool and clean. And she remember watching people get baptized on that same beach. Walking back up the sand, she feel free. She feel light beside the heavy wet clothes. The neighbors come running up looking worried. Girl, you all right? Don't let this trouble make you do anything foolish. God, I get so frightened. The children say that you're trying to drown yourself. She laugh, and she spin round, showering them with water from her hair and the full bloom of her wet skirt. Drown myself? Not me, darling. I celebrating Independence Day. That is one, and the other one is for Tony Kelman. It is never the official shout of freedom that makes you free. Freedom, like love, is not reducible to a seminal act. You would think that with all our history, we will be wary of declarations of days that promise to transform our lives: emancipation, adult suffrage, independence, liberation after liberation, and how many more to come, bearing their impossible promises so insistently that they wring our reluctant hearts into glad acquiescence. For the moment, for the day, who does not love a celebration? The dispensation of honors, the self-annunciation of a new people, who are yet the old people celebrating for the first and the repeated time. What if freedom, like the slime of gutters, is too far beneath our pride? What if we prefer to hide in the smug labyrinth of freedom as artifact, as gift, as politicians favor, something that smells and tastes like us? What if by celebrating the day, we are worshiping its father, time, and not the maker of time? What if freedom belongs to no one? What if it was ours all the time? So those were the two themes on independence.
Thank you, June.
Thank you.
You know, I kind of like the little twist in the first story there, you know, that what Independence Day meant to that lady.
That was great.
She got her own independence.
Exactly. I saw Frank laughing there.
I like how she described his whole life boiled down to just one cardboard, medium-sized cardboard box.
Yeah.
So it's a funny way to put it.
Yeah.
Any other comments?
Yeah, no other comments. Heather, once again, I see
Yes.
Kevin, you saw it? Kevin
Yeah.
posted. He has another one.
Kevin has one more piece he would like to share with us. Go ahead, Kevin.
Yes, I'll just do a piece called If, right? And this is a piece about mostly post-colonial leaders and freedom fighters and martyrs. If he was alive, great leaders like Bob Marley, representing the oppressed, poor and depressed, victims of racism and political corruption. If they were alive, great leaders like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, whether sing or swing, they fought the good fight so we could have sight and we could stand firm with all our might. If he was alive, Eric Williams, of course, also known as the boss, poor man's champion, poor people's champion, builder of my nation, brain of the Caribbean. Yes, if they were alive, things would be different because they were not like today's leaders. No, not in a million years. Because these leaders today, all they do is talk, 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 talk. Chatterboxes in offices, politicians on televisions, counting money, crossing legs, sipping champagne, busy laughing while homeless begging on pavement, sleeping in front of groceries, banks, and school buildings. While these modern leaders, newspaper readers, drive by in lower class in tinted glass in BMW and Mercedes Benz with their entourage of big shot friends. But if Bob Marley was alive, permit me to mention Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy, Abraham Lincoln, Malcolm X, John Lennon, Marcus Garvey, Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, Eric Williams, things would be different. Because whenever them fellas get a itch, they leave the whole world scratching.
Very, very good. There's lots to think about there. And I like the mix of heroes that you mentioned all together. You know, it really takes your brain from this to that person, this to that country.
Yes, and it also gives us a understanding of what we as normal citizens have to we are victimized by the upper class in the parliament, and which would spark rage and and would spark not hatred but rage and protest action amongst freedom fighters and martyrs, right? And we as the common citizens are victims of the politicians. So we have to. So I'm just paying a tribute to all the martyrs and all the freedom fighters and the post-colonial leaders as well.
I always quote Bob Marley's poignant statement. He said, "Some people are so poor, all they have is money."
All they have is money. Yes, yes, yes. Imagine that. That's something to think about. Yes. And he said something that remains in the minds of all Black people. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. It's a statement that he made so many years ago, and yet it does not resonate with the majority of Black people in the world today. They sing it, but they don't practice it.
Any other comments? We're still got about 10 minutes left.
On the very first day the daughter-in-law entered the family.
Well, usually Gershia would let us know about the next meeting, but any ideas, Motilal, on what's coming up for Poetry and Prose?
Before that, Moti, you have any idea of what Gershia wanted to read? If if I had it, I would have read it. Moti, you have anything?
Unmute there, Moti. No, he's
Moti, unmute, please. Click on audio. No, we're not hearing you. Click, right, good.
Okay, the next thing we have here on the 11th of October, we'll be doing something in the Debe Library on Diwali. They asked me to do something, so I'm organizing that at present, hoping that Gosha would be there so that we could Zoom and have people to participate. Other than that, the other thing we have lined up, and that should be later in October, we have Jamir Nazir. We have his poems. Chris, I sent them for you yesterday, so we'll be reading Jamir's poems as Poet of the Month for October.
okay. That's good to
Jamir,
know.
if you're here still, Jamir, if you're here still,
Yeah, no,
I was
I'm
supposed to
here.
call you, but I just letting you know that later
Thanks so much.
I will call you on the date. What we normally do, we let the other people in the group read the poems, and you would listen, and maybe you would read one or two. But we always like to, I personally like to hear other people read my work, and
no, that's
that's
great.
how we do it at Poetry and Prose.
Sure, thanks.
One other thing, Heather, I really like that story. I mean, sometimes I feel that, oh God, you're still living here.
Well, I like the comment that you said to me about the other book that I had. You're showing you're hiding in Trinidad and pretending you're living in foreign. I have to write a story about that one. But Hannah, the next book coming out, is comical in parts as well, but you have to retain your little Trini sense of humor.
Yeah. But I did leave the meeting for a little bit as I told Gusha, I have some guests here.
Yeah.
Today, well, this is the end of what we is called Pitra Paksh, where we honor the ancestors. So today, for what we do, we make offerings of food and all that, and we did that today, and some of our relatives were here. So
Yeah.
just apologize for if you missed me for a while.
Well, that's okay. You did say that you had something going on, but I'm glad that everybody showed up, and we saw Frank again after he was gone away for 3 weeks on the other side of the world. So
Yeah.
maybe next time you'll have a little piece to share with us there, Frank.
Okay. Right now, I'm in the process of editing my nonfiction book.
Yeah.
And
how's that coming along? You have a lot of changes to do?
Yeah. So I'm back and forth with the publisher.
Yeah. Oh, that's always fun.
Yeah.
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 If I could crave your indulgence here a little for Gusha, she sent this to me just now.
Okay. Go
So
ahead.
I'm going to read it.
Okay.
So you only have to hear Gusha's voice. Let's go. It's the quiet after the bang, the work after the declaration, when the once slaves and indentured laborers gather to answer the question of how to steer a nation. It follows the celebration and the pomp in quiet reflection, stately recognition of a twin nation. Let me reread that. It's the quiet after the bang, the work after the declaration, when the once slaves and indentured laborers gathered to answer the question of how to steer a nation. It follows the celebration and the pomp. Now, why I pause? You see, I seen quiet, but I don't know if it's quiet she meant.
I think it's quiet.
Quiet reflection. She's typing as I am with it. Quiet.
That's quiet reflection.
Quiet reflection, stately recognition of a twin nation. She's typing furiously, fast and furious. So it's coming, the message is coming. I might have to read it once again, right? Okay, so once again, it's the quiet after the bang, the work after the declaration, when the once slaves and indentured laborers gather to answer the question of how to steer a nation. It follows the celebration and the pomp in quiet reflection, stately recognition of a twin nation. Gusha Mahabir. And Frank, not Frank, Kevin. Yeah, Kevin Gusha is a founder of Poetry and Prose. Huh?
Okay, all right. That's nice meeting, huh?
Over to you, Heather. Heather?
Yes. I
Yeah,
just had. Well, Gersha's right in that piece. I don't. Everybody says, well, Trinis are everything for a fete and everything for a holiday, but it's the work that we have to put in and the thought that has to go into it, and that's that kind of dissipates so easily if we're not careful, and so it's hard for me to say because I'm living so far away and I'm kind of not in on what's going on in Trinidad. So I just feel like maybe I shouldn't really have a voice, but even in this country, we're having our issues, and I could say the same thing to the Canadians and the Americans or any country. You've got to put the work into it. You just can't be always celebrating and always fetting. And what are you celebrating, you know? If you don't have something of substance, if you don't create the substance that goes with it. So I think that her piece is very relevant today, not just for Trinidad, but for any country in the world. So thank you, Gersha. More comments, perhaps? Frank, what do you think? You're living in Canada like me. What do you think? Look, they're marching in Ottawa against Carney. He just got in. God, give the guy a break. Jeez.
And as we speak, 200,000 people are not celebrating, gathered in the States for that
General.
racist
Yeah.
guy.
Oh God, don't even go there with me. I can't even watch the news.
No.
So yeah, the world's a mess. What can I say? That goes back to what Kevin was saying about the heroes that are no longer with us. In a lot of ways they were prophetic and they had the answers, but they're not here to guide us anymore.
Yeah.
And you said you found things not bad in Singapore, and they have a benevolent dictator.
Well, yeah, as you know, the history of Singapore, I mean, everything is regimented there. We were told you can't bring gum into the country. You chew gum and spit it out, you get caned. And I tried.
Caned?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Daddy must be running the country.
I tried to find a piece of litter the size of a 25-cent piece, and I couldn't find litter anywhere. Everything is regimented. Everybody is about their business. There's nobody without a job, and the infrastructure is beyond what we've seen in North America. It's quite a social experiment, social and political experiment. Very productive.
A variation on that gum issue. A teacher told me, teacher who went with Germany when was for football, Germany. He said, these Germans have this, they have such pride in their place, and it's so clean. This is what he was telling me. That is years now. He said, if a sweetie fall along in the street, you could pick it up and start to suck it,
Yeah. Well, actually, that's a good point. We visited Germany in about 1980, and we were staying with some friends, and we were walking down the street, and a horse-drawn cart went by. It's just a kind of a, I don't know what it was all about. Something. Anyway, this horse messed on the road, and by the time we walked back to home, that horse poop was already cleaned up by somebody. I don't know who. It was clean and well gone. Again, another regimented society.
Yeah.
But ironically, when you're in the train going at 80 to 90 miles an hour, and you go to the washroom and you lift the lid of the toilet, you see the train tracks going by at 100 miles an hour.
Oh my God.
So there's a bit of an irony there.
That's scary. Yeah. That's scary, but it's also leaving a mess on the tracks.
Yeah.
Well, it was a very productive afternoon and entertaining as well and informative. So, Motilal, you still have guests by you? We'll let you go. Say goodbye to your guests. And Vishnu, so good to see you. And Cassie and Frank. Frank's back. from what, 3 weeks away?
Yeah.
You have to catch up on your naps.
I'm going for a nap now. I'm dealing with some jet lag here, so.
Yeah. And Jameer was new to our group this week, and as Kevin is as well. So good to see some new faces as well.
That's nice.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, thank you. It was a pleasure being here. Look forward to the next.
Always nice to hear from June and Cynthia as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thanks everybody. I'm leaving.
Okay.
Sure.
Bye
You too.
everybody. Till next time.
Bye.
Thank
All
you.